Today we're going to make a handprint tree with hearts, and these are fingerprints. I'm going to go over the whole process. This is the finished piece. I am not going to color all of my hearts, but you can see the finished piece, but you'll see how much I will do. Step one, draw your grass. You can draw your grass however you like grass. There's no certain way you should draw grass. Just make sure you start on one side and go all the way over to the edge. The grass shouldn't just randomly stop. So we need to make sure it goes all the way over. Then I'm going to put my hand down. Depends on how tall you want your tree, where you would put your hand. If you want a taller tree, you can put it further up. I'm going to put mine right in the middle. And I have my fingers spread like they're the branches of the tree. And my arm would be the trunk of the tree. So I trace my hand. And go down. Then I'm going to put a heart in the middle of my tree. You don't have to do that. If you wanted to, if you're going to do this for Mother's Day, you could write Mom in the middle of the tree. You could put Grandma in the middle of the tree. You could put your aunt in the middle of the tree, whoever it's for. If you're not making it for Mother's Day, you could put your own name in the middle of the tree if you really want to. And then you're going to think about where you want your tree. I'm drawing a really light line. You probably can't even see my line. But I drew a big circle around my tree so that I can tell where I want my hearts to go. I'm not going to go outside that circle because I want to make sure I fill the circle with hearts. So I'm going to fill this circle with hearts. And I suggest you use all different kinds of hearts and all sizes of hearts. You can even alternate the shapes of your heart, make some skinny ones. You could put the hearts in the middle of the fingers. I'm just going and filling this whole space in with hearts. If you need to, you could practice drawing hearts before you do it on your paper, like I always make you do in art class. I make you practice your shapes before you draw them on your good paper. If you need to do that, you can do that. Or maybe you just have an endless supply of paper at home, so you can just try it, and if it doesn't work out, you can redo it. So I filled in my entire circle with hearts. Now the next step, I'm going to trace everything in marker, and I'm going to trace it the color that I want to color it. So my grass I would make green. And I'm only tracing because, as I say, coloring with markers is a waste of a marker. We don't need to be coloring the whole space with markers, because then they dry out. And then you can't reuse your markers again, because you colored the whole page with one color. That's a waste. So I trace my hand and my arm for the trunk of my tree, and I made it brown, of course, because the tree trunk and the branches should be brown. And I did get off the line a little bit right there, but that's okay because I'm going to erase it. And I'm going to make my heart a little bit smaller on that side. Now, with the brown, you're going to want to draw bark on your tree. So for the bark, it's just little lines. That's all it is. And you can add different forms to your lines. You can make some of your lines swirls if you want. If you need to, you could do this in pencil first. That might help you. You don't have to do it in pencil. If you think you can just make up lines and go for it, then try that out. And like I said, there's no right or wrong to this. It doesn't matter. It's just supposed to look like bark. And I have to go up into my fingers and do this as well. And I made some marks around the heart. And then I'm going to use the water technique. You could use paintbrushes or you could use Q-tips, whatever you prefer. I always like to use Q-tips because that might be the only thing you have at home, and a cup of water. So I'm going to dip in my water, and then the brown smears. Watch out for the grass. The grass might smear a little bit, but if you kind of try to go away from it, it won't smear into the grass, so you won't have brown grass. And you don't need that much water. You see, I only dipped it once, and I still have enough to continue on the bark of the tree. I'm going in the same direction as my bark. The reason you need to make sure you do that is if I go like this, I'm gonna smear my bark, and then it's not gonna look like it's all going in the same direction, like the tree's growing. The bark should always go up and down, because that's how bark goes on a tree, because it looks like it's growing. If you were to do your bark sideways, it might look a little funny. It might not look like the tree is growing upward. And look, I still didn't have to get any more water. I still have enough to smear this. I gotta fill in fingers. And what I should have done is erase my pencil lines, because I have a pencil line there that's showing through. Once it dries, I'll be able to go over and erase the pencil lines like that one and those ones. Until then, you should just leave those pencil lines. If you already started using water, you should leave your pencil lines at this point until it's dry. Because if you try to erase over it, the erasers are going to get stuck in the water, or it could rip your paper. So now I'm going to get a red marker. Now you don't have to do your hearts red. If you wanted to, you could do some red and some purple, or you could do them all red, or you could do them blue, whatever color you think you like. So I got to trace all my hearts. And then I will probably erase these pencil lines before I color them. So what I would do is I would trace all of these hearts. I am not going to trace all the hearts. I'm just going to show you on here how I traced all the hearts and then I colored them with crayons. I colored them the same color that I traced. If I were to trace my heart in purple, I would color it in purple so that it still matches. If you do red and purple, you could alternate. You could trace in purple, color in pink if you wanted to alternate them. But I would make them somewhat uniform so it all looks like it's on the same tree. Now for the green marks, what I did, and Crayola markers, they're safe to put in your skin, they're non-toxic. If you have paint at home, you could dip in paint and dot to make fingerprints on the tree. Most of you don't have paint at home, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So I'm just coloring a little circle like a fingerprint on my finger, and then I stamp, and it makes fingerprint leaves on your tree. The other thing you could do is if you have a watercolor tray, you could put a little bit of water in the watercolor tray and dip in the watercolor and then dip on the paper. But I'm going to show you this because it's one less supply you would have to get out. After you wash your hands, it will stay on there a little bit, but it will eventually come off. And it's non-toxic, it's perfectly safe to have marker on your fingers. So I would just keep dotting and space them out nicely so that they are even. And that would be my finished tree. Thank you.